You're my mate, and you're not leaving my bed just yet." Alien girl demand. Alex stretched his arms and let out a long sigh as he collapsed onto his bed. It had been a long day, longer than most, filled with work deadlines, noisy neighbors, and the endless hum of city life. His apartment was quiet now, save for the soft ticking of the clock on his wall and the occasional car passing outside. He just wanted to sleep, that's all. But sleep had other plans. A sudden, strange glow flickered by his window. At first he thought it was a reflection of the streetlights, but then the light intensified, bathing the room in a soft, otherworldly shimmer. He blinked, and then he froze. Standing on the edge of his window sill was a girl, but not an ordinary girl. Her skin shimmered like liquid silver under the dim light, and her large eyes glowed faintly, reflecting every color in the spectrum. Her hair floated as if underwater, gently swaying even though there was no breeze. Alex's brain refused to process what he was seeing. Hello," Alex stammered. His voice sounded small in the suddenly enormous room. The girl tilted her head, her glowing eyes narrowing slightly, then widened again in what looked like amusement. "Finally, there you are," she said, her voice musical and strangely soft. "I've been looking for you." Alex swallowed hard. "Looking for me? Who, what are you?" She grinned, a mischievous sparkle in her eyes. "I'm your mate." Alex blinked. "Excuse me." "My mate," she repeated, stepping into his room as if it were the most natural thing in the universe. "And you're not leaving my bed just yet." Alex sat up abruptly, pulling the blanket close to him. "Not leaving your bed? My bed? Who even are you?" The girl rolled her eyes, clearly unimpressed by his confusion. "I'm the one who will stay with you, the one who is bonded to you, the one who matters." Alex's head spun. He had read plenty of fantasy and sci-fi stories online, but nothing had prepared him for this. "Bonded? Look, I think you've got the wrong apartment, wrong person." She huffed dramatically, crossing her arms. "No, you don't understand. The bond is instant. It's not wrong. It's real. And it's binding." Alex's brain tried to protest, but a weird mixture of awe, fear, and curiosity rooted him to the spot. He couldn't look away. There was something compelling about her, something he couldn't quite define. The alien girl tilted her head and studied him closely, as though reading his very thoughts. "You are startled, excited, confused, slightly terrified," she said, her voice like a soft hum. "Good, that's normal." Alex's jaw dropped. You can read my mind." She laughed, a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "Not exactly, but I can sense your emotions. It's part of why we are perfect for each other." Alex rubbed his eyes, hoping this was some kind of bizarre dream. Maybe he had fallen asleep at his desk earlier and this was all a hallucination. Maybe he was imagining her. Perfect for each other. "Look, I don't even know you. And you just show up in my room and—" The girl jumped lightly onto his bed, landing gracefully despite her small frame. "I know enough," she interrupted. "Enough to claim you, enough to stay, enough to—" "Enough!" Alex yelled, flinching at the sudden intensity of her gaze. He had to calm himself. He had to. This was insane. "Look, I don't even— Who are you?" "I am someone who is meant to be with you," she said softly, almost whispering now, yet her words carried a weight that made Alex's chest tighten. "You can try to run. You can try to hide, but it will not matter. The bond is real, and you are mine temporarily, at least until you understand it." Alex stared at her. He had no idea what she meant by temporarily or why she thought he could just understand this overnight. I think you're insane," he finally muttered. "Insane." "Maybe," she admitted with a small shrug. "But so are the stars, and so is love, and so is destiny. Now sleep. We will begin properly in the morning." Alex froze. "Sleep? Wait, what do you mean sleep? You mean here?" "Yes," she said matter-of-factly, spreading out slightly on the bed. "Your bed is perfect, warm, comfortable, and I am not leaving it just yet, trust me." Alex's mind raced. He had so many questions. Who was she? Where did she come from? Why him? And how was he supposed to sleep with her on his bed? He sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Fine, let's just try to figure this out in the morning. For now, stay there, but no funny business." The girl giggled, a sound that echoed faintly in the room like soft bells. "Funny business. Oh, Alex, I am full of surprises, but don't worry, mostly harmless." Alex flopped back onto the bed, facing the ceiling, and tried to calm his racing thoughts. Maybe if he ignored her, she would leave. Maybe this was just a one-night thing, a bizarre, unexplained event. Maybe he could wake up tomorrow and everything would be normal. But as he drifted toward an uneasy sleep, he felt her gaze on him, warm, steady, unwavering. And a strange sense of calm settled over him despite everything. Somewhere deep in his mind, a small voice whispered, "This is not normal. This is not okay. And yet, maybe it's exactly what you need." Morning came slowly. The light filtering through his blinds revealed the alien girl still there, sitting cross-legged on his bed, humming softly. She had somehow managed to curl up comfortably as if she had been sleeping there for months. Alex blinked. "You slept here." "Of course," she replied cheerfully. "It's where I belong," Alex groaned. He had no words, no plan, and no clue how to deal with this. His apartment, once a safe haven, now felt like the most unpredictable place in the universe. "Tell me your name," Alex finally said, deciding that at least knowing her name might make her slightly more human. She smiled, tilting her head to the side. "Names are complicated. You may call me Leora, Leora of the Stars." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Leora of the Stars." "Yes," she said simply, as if it explained everything. "And now, Alex, you are my mate, and my journey begins with you, whether you like it or not." Alex pinched the bridge of his nose again, muttering, "I'm never sleeping in peace again." But deep down, despite the confusion, despite the fear, despite the total absurdity of it all, a small part of him felt intrigued. Something about Leora made his heart beat a little faster, a little differently than it ever had before. He glanced at her and she winked, a playful smirk crossing her face. "Do not worry, Alex. Soon you will understand, and soon you will not want me to leave." Alex sighed, leaning back against the pillows. The night had been strange, chaotic, and utterly unbelievable. But he had a feeling, no, a certainty, that this was only the beginning. And for the first time in weeks, he felt a spark of excitement. Alex woke up the next morning to a strange warmth beside him. His eyes shot open, and there she was, Leora, still perched on his bed like she belonged there. He blinked several times, trying to convince himself it was a dream, but the shimmer of her silver skin and the faint glow in her eyes told him otherwise. "Morning," she said cheerfully, stretching her arms above her head. "Sleep well," Alex groaned. "Not really, you're still here." "Of course I'm still here. I told you, Alex, I am your mate. You don't get rid of me that easily." Her smile was playful but serious at the same time. Alex rubbed his eyes and swung his legs over the side of the bed. "Right, mate, okay. So now what, you stay here forever?" Leora tilted her head. "I stay where I need to be, and right now that's here." That simple answer sent a shiver down Alex's spine. He had no idea how to deal with this. He had a million questions, but the first one was practical. "Okay, fine. Breakfast?" Leora's eyes lit up. "Breakfast, yes, I like the concept of breakfast." She leapt off the bed with surprising grace, landing softly on the floor. Then, with a flick of her hand, a few floating sparks appeared above the kitchen counter. Within seconds, a small stack of pancakes, scrambled eggs, and orange juice hovered before Alex. I didn't make this," Alex said, staring at the floating food. "I know," Leora said proudly. "I made it. It's part of cohabitation etiquette on my planet. Guests must be fed." Alex stared at her. "Cohabitation etiquette, your planet. You just appeared in my room yesterday and now you're making breakfast." She shrugged, grabbing a slice of pancake midair. "Why not? It's polite and you will like it." Alex shook his head but couldn't help smiling. He sat down and hesitated for a moment, then took a bite. To his surprise, it was delicious. "Okay, that's really good." "Of course it is," Leora said smugly, floating down to sit next to him. I'm excellent at cooking and caring for mates, Alex blinked. Mates, yes, yes, I got that part. The day continued in a strange blur. Leora was everywhere, sometimes literally floating above him, sometimes inexplicably appearing behind him with a cheerful grin. She examined his books, hovered over his laptop, and asked dozens of questions about Earth things. Why do humans need so much sleep? She asked at one point, tilting her head. On my planet, we rest for only a few hours, then our energy renews fully. Alex rubbed his temples. I don't know, evolution, habit, culture. Culture is inefficient, Leora said, floating over to inspect his phone. I can fix your devices faster. She waved her hand and his phone lit up and recharged instantly, apps opening smoothly. Alex's jaw dropped. You just fixed my phone. How are you doing that? I told you, she said, hopping onto the back of the couch. I have abilities, minor ones, mostly harmless. Alex stared at her in disbelief. Minor ones, you just manipulated electronics, that's major. Perspective, Leora said, shrugging. Also very fun. By mid-afternoon, Alex realized he was no longer a lone human living his simple life. Leora had made herself at home in ways he couldn't have imagined. She rearranged his room slightly. His desk now had floating shelves for better organization. His laundry mysteriously folded itself. And even his small collection of plants seemed to perk up, almost as if they recognized her. Why are my plants glowing? Alex asked, leaning closer. They like me, Leora said simply, brushing a glowing fern with her fingers. Plants sense energy. You humans are boring, your plants deserve sparkle. Alex pinched the bridge of his nose. I'm losing my mind. Definitely losing my mind, Leora giggled. No, you're just experiencing life fully, that's a good thing. The day became a mixture of chaos and curiosity. Alex tried to go to work, but Leora insisted on accompanying him. She didn't leave his side, floating subtly beside him during his commute, examining the city with wide-eyed fascination. People stared, of course, but Alex found himself too exhausted to care. At work, things got even stranger. Leora sat on his desk, quietly observing his coworkers while occasionally floating over to inspect their devices. When a coworker asked if she was a friend or relative, she just replied, I am the mate. He belongs to me. Alex wanted to disappear into the floor. By the time he got home, Alex was mentally drained. Leora, however, seemed energized. She had spent the day absorbing everything about human life, traffic, food, technology, conversation patterns, and now she wanted to teach him about her world. Alex, she said as they walked into the apartment, did you know that on my planet mates are chosen instantly at birth? The bond is a lifetime connection and it is sacred. Once you recognize it, you cannot ignore it. You will feel it eventually. Alex groaned. I already feel stressed. Stress is irrelevant, she said, floating onto the bed with a playful flourish. You are my mate, and I am here. That is all that matters. Alex collapsed onto the bed beside her, staring at the ceiling. Leora's words were strange, almost frightening, yet there was something comforting in the simplicity of them. She wasn't asking. She wasn't negotiating. She simply declared. And in some inexplicable way, part of Alex wanted to accept it. But life wasn't just their little bubble. Strange things started happening around them. Electronics occasionally flickered when Leora was nearby. Plants seemed to respond to her emotions. And once, Alex caught her staring at him intently, her eyes glowing faintly, as if she were seeing his thoughts in vivid detail. I can't keep secrets from you, Alex muttered one night as she hovered beside him. Good, Leora said softly. You wouldn't want to, not with me. It wasn't all serious, though. Leora had a playful side, constantly teasing Alex. She mimicked his expressions, floated above his head during serious moments, and even rearranged his furniture in ways that left him completely baffled. She had no concept of personal space, or maybe she did, and simply didn't care. Either way, Alex's patience was being tested. But amidst the chaos, Alex began to notice subtle things. Leora wasn't just a mischief maker. She was thoughtful, curious, and deeply attentive. When he tripped over something in the kitchen, she gently caught him before he fell. When he felt anxious about work, she hummed a soothing melody that seemed to calm him instantly. By the end of the week, Alex realized something strange. He didn't want her to leave, not because he had to, the bond, the mate thing, but because he genuinely enjoyed her presence. Leora, with all her quirks and oddities, had brought something vibrant and alive into his life, something that had been missing for a long time. And then the first real test happened. It was a quiet evening. Alex was working on his laptop, trying to focus. Leora hovered near the window, watching the city lights. Suddenly, the apartment flickered, and a strange hum filled the room. A ripple of energy passed through the walls, and Alex's stomach dropped. Leora's eyes glowed brightly. "Someone's coming," she said, her tone serious for the first time. "They can sense the bond. They know I am here. They might be dangerous." Alex froze. "Wait, what, dangerous?" "Yes," Leora said, hovering closer to him. "Not all of my kind approve of sudden bonds. Some think mates should be carefully chosen. They do not understand humans. They will try to take you, Alex. I will not allow it." Alex's mind raced. He had thought the hardest part of this week was surviving her quirks. Now it seemed there was something far bigger at play. A world beyond his comprehension was creeping into his life, and he had no choice but to face it, alongside Leora. She floated down and took his hand gently, her grip warm and reassuring despite her alien form. "Do not be afraid. I will protect you, but you must trust me. And you must prepare. The days ahead will be interesting." Alex nodded slowly, a mixture of fear and determination settling over him. Somehow he knew this was only the beginning. The chaos, the mystery, the alien girl who refused to leave his bed, all of it was just the start. And deep down, part of him couldn't help but feel ready. Because despite everything, Leora was his mate now. And maybe, just maybe, that wasn't such a bad thing after all. Alex had never felt more on edge in his life. The apartment, once a safe haven, now pulsed with an unfamiliar energy. Leora hovered near the window, her eyes glowing softly as she scanned the city streets below. "They're coming," she said, her tone calm but serious. "They know about the bond. They know I am here." Alex froze. Who knows about the bond? And why? What is happening? "Not all of my kind accept sudden bonds," Leora explained. "Some believe a mate must be chosen carefully over years of observation. Others see sudden bonds as mistakes that must be corrected." Alex's stomach turned. "Corrected? You mean like they'll take me away?" Leora nodded gravely. "Yes, that is the risk. They do not understand humans. They see you as untrained, unprepared. But I cannot let them take you." Alex's mind raced. Only a few days ago, he had been an ordinary human with ordinary problems. Now he was caught in a world of alien politics, interstellar laws, and mystical bonds he didn't understand. He felt powerless, but Leora reached out, her small hand gripping his. "Do not worry. I will protect you, but you must trust me." Alex swallowed hard. I trust you, I don't know what to do," she smiled faintly. "Good, that is the first step. Fear is natural, courage is learned." The next day the danger became real. While Alex was at work, Leora had been preparing. She had taught him to sense small disturbances in energy, to notice the faint shimmer that indicated another alien's presence. At first, it was subtle, almost imperceptible, but Alex began to understand. By evening, their instincts were tested. A sudden ripple of energy filled the apartment and the lights flickered. The air grew cold and a shadow appeared near the doorway. Alex froze. "Leora, who is that?" From the shadow, a figure emerged, a tall, imposing alien with dark, metallic skin and sharp, piercing eyes. Unlike Leora, there was no warmth in this alien's presence, only authority and danger. "I see the mate has chosen quickly," the newcomer said, voice like metal scraping over stone. "How unexpected!" Leora's eyes narrowed. Step back, you will not take him. The alien's lips twisted into a smirk. I only intend to observe for now. But if the bond is not corrected, consequences will follow. That human is not ready for the responsibilities of the bond. Alex's heart pounded. Bond, responsibilities. I can barely handle my work emails. Leora floated closer to him, her presence protective. It is not about what you think. The bond is not just emotional. It is life-altering. It ties your energy to mine. To reject it is dangerous for both of us. The visitor tilted its head, studying Alex like a puzzle to solve. Do you understand the consequences, human? Alex shook his head, overwhelmed. No, I just want to survive the day. Leora's expression softened. And you will, but first you must understand the bond fully. Over the next few hours, Leora began to explain the truth. The mate bond was biological, emotional, and energetic. It was a connection between two beings that transcended normal human understanding. Once formed, it created a shared energy. One could feel the emotions, thoughts, and even minor physical sensations of the other. The bond was instant, but it also required trust and cooperation to maintain balance. You mean I can feel you? Alex asked, incredulous. Yes, Leora said gently, and you can feel me. That is why it matters so much. The bond is sacred, dangerous, yes, but also beautiful. Alex shivered. Dangerous how? Some of my kind do not accept humans as mates, Leora explained. They think sudden bonds are reckless. If the bond is challenged, they may try to sever it. And if the bond is forcibly broken, the consequences can be severe. Illness, energy loss, even death in extreme cases. Alex's eyes widened. Death seriously. Not always, Leora said softly, but the risk is real. That is why they are here. Alex swallowed. Fear, excitement, and confusion mixed into a whirlwind in his chest. So what do? We protect ourselves, Leora said firmly. We strengthen the bond, we learn its limits, and we face them together. The night grew tense. The rival alien remained, pacing the apartment silently, watching. Alex tried to focus, but every glance at Leora reminded him how surreal this was. She had been floating beside him moments ago, playful and mischievous, and now she was fierce, protective, and unwavering. This is a lot, Alex muttered, hugging his knees to his chest. I know, Leora said, floating down to rest a hand on his shoulder, but you are stronger than you realize. You have adapted quickly, and you have me. That is enough. The first challenge came sooner than expected. The rival alien lunged forward with speed Alex couldn't comprehend. Leora reacted instantly, placing herself between Alex and the intruder. Energy flared around them, soft pulses of light that shimmered across the room. Alex felt a strange pull in his chest, as if he were part of the energy too. Stay close, Leora shouted. You can help, trust the bond. Alex felt a warmth surge through his body, a sensation he couldn't describe. He saw flashes of her memories, her emotions, and even glimpses of her world among the stars. Panic turned into clarity. Somehow, he could sense her movements before they happened. He could anticipate danger. With a shared effort, Leora and Alex countered the rival's attack. The intruder hissed, realizing the bond was stronger than expected. With a final surge, the alien recoiled, then disappeared, leaving a faint ripple in the air. Alex collapsed, breathing heavily. I did that. You did, Leora said, smiling faintly. And you did well. The bond, it grows stronger when we face challenges together. That is why they will keep coming, they test us. But together, we are resilient. Alex rubbed his face. I feel connected, weirdly connected, like I know what you're thinking sometimes. That is part of it, Leora said softly. Part of understanding, part of trust. The more we share, the stronger we become, and the more dangerous we are to anyone who opposes us. Alex laughed nervously. Dangerous, me? I can barely order takeout without messing it up. You underestimate yourself, Leora said, brushing a loose strand of hair from his forehead. Humans are adaptable. You are brave even if you don't know it yet. The night ended with an uneasy calm. Alex sat on the edge of the bed, exhausted but exhilarated. Leora curled beside him, her glow dimmed to a comforting shimmer. "Tomorrow will be different," she said softly. "They will return, but we will be ready." Alex nodded slowly. "Different, right. I guess I'm in this now." "Fully." Leora smiled, resting her head near his shoulder. "Good, that is exactly where you should be, with me, always." And for the first time since she had arrived, Alex truly believed her. Because despite the chaos, the fear, and the danger, a strange sense of belonging filled him. The bond was real. The bond was dangerous. And the bond was theirs. Alex woke to the soft glow of Leora's light hovering over him. The night had been quiet, but a tense energy still lingered in the apartment. The events of the previous days, her arrival, the chaos, the rival alien, had left him exhausted, yet strangely alert. He had learned more in a week than he ever imagined possible. "Good morning," Leora said, her tone gentle. She floated near him, her hair shimmering softly like liquid silver. "Rested?" Alex rubbed his eyes. "As much as I can be, I guess, but are we really safe now?" "For the moment," Leora replied. "But the rival will return. They do not give up easily." "We must be prepared together." Alex nodded. Despite the fear still twisting in his stomach, he felt something new, a quiet confidence. He wasn't just a human being swept into a strange alien world anymore. He was Leora's mate, and their bond gave him strength he hadn't known he had. The day passed in a strange mixture of ordinary tasks and preparation. Leora helped Alex organize his apartment, creating subtle protections using small bursts of her energy. She explained how these barriers would alert them if another intruder appeared. They moved carefully, communicating silently through their growing bond, their thoughts and feelings subtly entwined. Alex marveled at the bond's effect. He could almost sense Leora's intentions before she acted, and she seemed to anticipate his movements as well. It was strange, disorienting, yet comforting. By evening, the city outside had quieted, and the apartment seemed almost peaceful. That peace was shattered by a sudden sharp ripple in the air. Alex's heart jumped as he felt a presence powerful, unfamiliar, and dangerous. "They're here," Leora whispered, her voice calm but firm. Her eyes glowed brighter, her body floating slightly above the floor. "Get ready, Alex, we face them together." The intruder stepped into the room. It was the same rival alien, tall, dark, and imposing. This time it didn't hesitate. Its eyes burned with authority, and its energy pulsed aggressively through the apartment. "You cannot defy the rules," the alien said, voice like metal grinding on stone. "The bond is invalid. That human is unfit." Leora stepped forward, placing herself between Alex and the rival. "They are my mate, and I will not let you take them," she said firmly. Her energy flared, creating a barrier of shimmering light around them. Alex's chest pounded, but he felt the warmth of the bond. He could sense Leora's focus, her determination, and suddenly his fear began to transform into resolve. "I'm not going anywhere," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. The rival alien hissed and lunged forward. Leora moved instantly, deflecting the attack with a burst of energy. Alex felt a strange surge, like their bond was flowing through him. He moved instinctively, stepping into the fray. His hands glowed faintly as he helped guide Leora's energy, reinforcing the shield and countering the intruder's attacks. The apartment shook as light clashed with shadow, and Alex realized something profound. He and Leora were stronger together. The bond wasn't just emotional, it was powerful, tangible, and alive. "Focus on the bond, Alex," Leora shouted. "Think of me, think of us. We are one in this." Alex closed his eyes, letting the connection flow through him. He felt Leora's energy, her thoughts, her emotions. He felt her fear, her determination, her love. And in that moment, he understood the true strength of the mate bond. It wasn't about rules or power or fear. It was about trust, connection, and choice. With a shared surge of energy, Leora and Alex created a brilliant flash of light that pushed the rival alien back. The intruder stumbled, hissing in frustration. Impossible. The bond, it is too strong. You see, Leora said, her voice calm and triumphant. It is not a mistake, it is real, and we are ready. The rival alien gave a final, warning glare, then disappeared in a ripple of shadows. The apartment fell silent, the only sound the faint hum of residual energy. Alex sank onto the floor, breathing heavily. Leora hovered beside him, her glow dimming to a soft, comforting light. "We did it," she said. "We are safe for now." Alex shook his head, still trying to process everything. "We actually did it, together." "Exactly," Leora said, smiling gently. She floated closer and reached out to touch his cheek, a soft warmth radiating from her hand. "Together, always." Alex felt a rush of emotions, relief, gratitude, and something deeper. He realized that over the past few days, he had grown in ways he never expected. He had faced fear, uncertainty, and chaos, and he had come out stronger. Not just because of himself, but because of Leora and the bond they shared. I understand now," Alex said softly. "The bond, it's not just about danger or rules, it's about trust and connection and us." Leora's eyes glowed brighter at his words, and she smiled, a smile that was warm, playful, and filled with affection. "Yes, Alex, exactly, and now you know why I am here, why I chose you." Alex laughed softly, shaking his head. "I never thought I'd end up in a situation like this. An alien girl showing up, declaring me her mate, and fighting off interstellar rivals. It's insane." "And yet," Leora said, floating onto the bed and curling beside him, "it is perfect, because it is real, because it is us." Alex glanced at her, feeling a sense of peace he hadn't known in years. The chaos, the fear, the confusion, they were gone, replaced by something stronger, something unbreakable. "Stay here?" he asked quietly. "Always," Leora replied, snuggling close. "I am not leaving, not now." "Not ever." Alex smiled, finally allowing himself to relax. The bed that had once felt like a trap now felt like a sanctuary. He could feel the warmth of Leora's energy, the steady rhythm of their bond, and the sense of belonging he hadn't realized he'd been missing. They sat together in comfortable silence, the city lights outside casting a gentle glow across the room. Alex realized that life would never be ordinary again, but he didn't mind, because he wasn't alone. He had Leora, she had him. And together they had survived chaos, danger, and the unknown. The night stretched on peacefully, a calm after the storm. Alex closed his eyes, feeling the gentle hum of the bond and the presence of Leora beside him. It was soft, comforting, and steady, like the rhythm of life itself. And for the first time in a long while he felt truly home. Leora's soft voice broke the silence. "Tomorrow we will explore more of your world, and I will show you mine," Alex chuckled. "I think I'm ready for that, as long as you promise no more surprise intruders." "No promises," Leora said with a teasing grin, "but mostly safe, mostly fun, and always together." Alex laughed, leaning back on the pillows. The alien girl beside him, once a stranger, now his mate, seemed almost impossibly real. Yet, in every way that mattered, she was his, and he was hers. The bond between them had been tested, challenged, and strengthened. And now nothing, not rival aliens, not fear, not uncertainty, could break it. For Alex, the adventure was just beginning. But he knew one thing for certain. No matter what the universe threw at them, they would face it together. Because Leora had chosen him, and he had chosen her. And that was stronger than anything else.